done. I mean, I don't want to sit there and speculate that they've got more concern or not. I think they're just looking at it that, he kind of came down a little funny and he's got some discomfort there right now, and they want to take a look. And he didn't feel, that he didn't feel like he could return. And it may have been both of them, the medical and him, talking about that, not returning.
This is the first time he's dealt with pain this knee, or just something that's been first you heard of?
I think the length and duration of the season, number of games, these guys are always dealing with different issues and things like that, but obviously nothing significant that was holding him out of games or anything like that. So like I said, I mean, I think before I speculate or guess or anticipate or try to figure out what it may or may not be, I just don't know until he gets an MRI. I mean, that's really all it is right now. And then obviously we're leaving and taking off, tonight to head to Boston. So, and he won't be going with us. So we'll probably know a lot more detail tomorrow.
What troubled you the most about tonight?
Well, I think we're struggling really defensively. We're going to have to find some ways. I thought they got away from us. We had a hard time keeping up. I thought a lot of ways we were going to have to, again, there's been with limited practice time, we're going to have to try to figure a way to stop some of the bleeding defensively. And, there was, I think some possessions where we were okay. And then obviously there was quite a lot of possessions we were not. And, we're going to have to figure out a way to try to help the group defensively. And obviously with the number of guys that are out, we'll have to kind of try to piece it together as best we can.
Billy, in that second quarter, it seemed like the Warriors fed off the amount of turnovers that you guys had. What do you attribute those to? What did you see?
Yeah, I think that you always try to look at the things you can control, right? And it's even like the Brooklyn game. If you really go back, they gave up a lot of points, right? And with the points that we gave up, I think 95 points of the 138 came off second chance points, transition points, free throw line, and layups. Like there's just things we got to control and can control better than that. And I don't know what the numbers will look like today, but a lot of them, to your point, was I think our field goal percentage shot making in the first half was number one in the league, but our rating wasn't number one because we turned it over, I think 11 times, and they maybe scored 26 points. That really opened up the game. And, Lonzo had uncharacteristically 5 in the first half, and we had 11 as a team. And, against a team like that, that's good defensively, that's been good all year long, they just, you give them easy baskets. And I think I mentioned this after the Brooklyn game, like we've got to find ways to take away easy baskets. Like there's certain matchups and things are going to happen where guys are going to make shots, based on the matchups. But I still think that we still had a hard time rebounding the ball. Tonight, I thought the rebounding and the turnovers really, really hurt us. And clearly they are a really good shooting team, and they had been shooting it not so great. And you knew that at some point they were going to start shooting the ball better. I thought we did a pretty good job on Curry, but he stays within the framework of the game. He doesn't really, even though he takes tough shots, he gets them when he wants to get them. But I thought we were good there. But, Poole and Kuminga and some of these other guys, we had a hard time matching up with those guys.
Well, did you feel like in these last 2 games, there was any a lack of competing out of your guys, or so many careless turnovers, guys just going straight to the basket for layups? Do you think the frustration level or whatever just?
No, I mean, listen, clearly we're going to have to play harder, to your point, right? We're going to have to fight more, with where our team is at right now. I feel like we cannot we're not in a position to have our offense dictate our defense. And I think some of the stuff that you're talking about is more of frustration, disappointment, whatever word you want to use, when the offense is not going well for us, whether it was turnovers tonight or missing shots. And we've got to be better than that in those situations, because we just don't have a lot of margin for error. And certainly with Zach going out, points were probably going to be a little bit more challenging to come by. And you're going to have to find different ways to kind of, hold on, so to speak. And, for us, I think that, we're going to have to find ways, to your point, to take away, some of the layups and easy baskets that we're giving up, because it's just too hard to overcome. We're going to have a hard time scoring that amount of points.
Billy, why is closing out possessions without defensive rebounds so tough for you guys right now?
I think it goes, in my opinion, it goes back to, it goes back to your habits, and we have got to, I think with the way the game's played right now, when there's 5 on the perimeter, generally a lot of guys are behind the 3-point line. So when shots go up, we're turning and we have to secure the lane line, and we just don't do a good enough job of that. And I always say this, you can't cure a bad habit in a timeout. You got to build it over a period of time. And we're talking about it, showing it, working on it. We've got to be better in that area because, to your point, that the rebounding, the communication, in transition, the awareness on the weak side to give help. Like there's those are things that habit-wise we've got to be better at. And the habit's not there, to be quite honest with you, at the level we need it to be. And I thought for a while there in the year it was okay because we were pretty good. We were holding our own rebounding wise. But, with the number of guys that we have out and a lot of guys that are playing in different spots in different roles, we got to help them build those habits as well.
Billy, sorry. Every NBA season's got adversity, and you guys have had plenty of it even earlier this season and handled it very well. Now you're hitting a rough patch and you're shorthanded. Is it the right mindset to go, all right, we're not whole. Eventually we're going to get whole and we're going to get past this? Or is it, we got to attack this?
No, I mean, I don't look at it that way. I got a lot of respect for those guys in the locker room. They've been professional. They've worked hard. They're great guys. We've had different guys step up at different points in times. I do think that, when Zach went out tonight, again, the rotations are totally out of whack. You're staggering he and DeMar. Then you're trying to figure out how do you now stagger Vooch and DeMar because you want to keep one of those guys on the floor. So now you're extending those guys a little minutes. And listen, once we got to the half and probably midway through the third, it was probably a game we were not going to come back and win, right? So I think that from a competitive standpoint, you try to go out there and you control the things that you can control. And I think we can do a better job with that. And I still think that's our job and that's our responsibility. I don't think that our guys should. I know they won't. There's no excuses. I look at the Atlanta team that we played against. You want to go through the list of guys that they had out? We played against them twice. I mean, Gallinari and Lou Williams and Hunter, Herter. I mean, you just go down the list. It's just everybody's dealing with it. And you know what? Guys' dreams are to play in the NBA. And some of these guys are getting an opportunity that maybe they wouldn't have had in this situation. And you know what? There's enough for us to compete better than we did. I just really believe that. And I'm not going to, I think it would be unfair as a coach to do that to the group there, to say to them, hey, listen, guys, I know we got some guys out and, some good defenders. And, once we get them back, we'll be okay. But for right now, let's just get through this game. Like, I still think we have to build habits as a team on the things that we can control. And, transition defense, communication, blocking out, pulling across, all those things, taking care of the ball. Like, those are things that have nothing to do, in my opinion, with injuries and people being out. And I just, I'm not going to sit there and say because Zach went out and this guy went out, we have to be better, and we've got to coach it better, and we've got to help them more from the staff. And I'm going to have to find out, look at film, and it's been 2 games in a row. I got to figure out ways, how can I help the group? Because there may be things, to be quite honest with you, that I'm asking them to do defensively, man to man, that it may be hard for us to do. We may have to make some adjustments and do some different things, and, play some different kind of, coverages and do some different things to try to help the group. I think that we have to, as a staff, do that. It's my job to try to do that. I don't know what that is right now. But I got to try to help them, along this way, because to your point, it's keep coming, right? It's going to be Boston tomorrow, and it's going to be Memphis. They're just going to keep coming. Like, it's not stopping, and no one's feeling sorry for anybody. We're going to have to pick ourselves up and take care of it ourselves.
A little broader level, going back to the winning streak, those games against Indiana and Washington were exciting finishes, but you're outplayed in both those games. And
100%.
Did it create any false sense of security that these problems were there, but they were sort of being papered over by the fact you're winning these games that, you're not playing that well in?
Yeah, I said that, if DeMar's heroics the last 2 games against Washington and Indiana, those things don't happen. You drop both of those games. And to your point, we had maybe In one game, it was a 2 or 3 minute surge, where we kind of got back in the game because both of those games were close to being down by 8 or 10 points. We kind of surged and got back and made some plays. And listen, I'm not taking anything away from DeMar. It was obviously 2 incredible shots. But like I said this, when I came back out of the COVID thing, watching this and watching film, believe me, I had a lot of time on my hands, Sam, to watch film. I watched a lot. And I could see it. And I try to get on Zoom calls and talk about it. And, then guys start to come out, we think Alex coming back, he's going out, a lot of things. So some of it, our team is different from the team that, played maybe in those games a little bit with some guys that are kind of coming in and out right now. But I was able to see that. And I talked about it, I think, when I got back, like, we got to get better. I saw some of this stuff habitually happening. And we've got to find a way to become more disciplined, on both ends of the floor. We just do. And I've got to find a way as a coach to try to help them in that area.
Thanks, Coach.